G'day everyone, it's Comics with Callaway, back with another video, and we're going to do a review of The Adventures of Superman 469. Funny story, when I got this book the other day, I was in the local comic shop just killing some time and going through some of his back issues, and I found this. And the reason why I got it was because it had Dan Jurgens' name on it. So Dan Jurgens is writing it. And then when I actually got home and actually started reading it, I looked at the cover again, and I was like, wait a minute, it's got Art T-Bear art in it. So I'm like, that's pretty funny. With old Art T-Bear on Comicsgate and everything now, and well, that's pretty interesting. I bought the book because it had Dan Jurgens' name on it, but then when I get home, I find out that it's got Art's name on it. So let's get into it. It is a good story. A few different plot lines in it. Full of action. Pretty bit of humour. Bit of everything in it. Just a classic Dan Jurgens Superman story. So we start off here. We got a bit of a love scene between Lois and Clark. They're back at Smallville at a fireworks show, and they get interrupted by spaceship, UFO, whatever you want to call it. And it is it's a couple of hunters looking for another couple of hunters. And as I'm reading as I was reading this book, this page here, the ad page here. So I'm reading through the book, and then I turn over, and then I get to this page, and I read about 2 or 3 panels before I realise that it's not Superman that I'm reading, because they just blended together, and I'm like, hang on a minute, this don't make sense. So I've gone from reading Superman and a spaceship invasion to reading about monkeys and elephants and stuff. I'm like, what's going on here? Then it clicked. I'm like, oh, this is an ad. So I'm like, oh well, that was interesting. So we keep reading. Superman's come to the rescue. He's done the dash as Clark Kent, and he's raced back to family home in Smallville. He's got the Superman suit on, and he's gone into action. And these two hunters here are actually looking for these 2 hunters, and these 2 hunters here are looking for Clark Kent. Sorry. So it's kind of like it's like it's like a triangle. 3 corners are all colliding at once. So Clark is fighting these 2, and they're trying to say, don't get in our way. We don't want you. But Superman actually thought these 2 were dead. So he's actually encountered these in the past, from what I can read from the story. So he battles them, a good fight scene, and eventually he works out that the 2 hunters are just containment shells of pure energy. So if he can get the shell away from their being, they'll just turn to nothing, basically. So this is where they actually the fighter jet actually bombed them with the missile. And they've actually, they've sucked the energy in and ate the energy and got bigger and stronger. So the air missile that the army fighter jet has sent down to kill them with hasn't done anything. So that's when Superman realised these guys are just big containment shells of energy. So if he can remove the shell, their inner being should just fall to mush, basically. So that's where you can see here, he removes the energy field from around the outside of them, and then once they do that, they got no power. So he defeats them, and then that's when more ads. That's when these two hunters come in. We got Dreadnought and Cylon, I think his name is a little guy. Is this little guy, and they're after Clark Kent. They're not after Superman. They're after Clark Kent because he obviously done something to them in the past. I'm not sure what it was. I'll have to try and find out from other books. So, but the original hunters that were the two energy beams, they were hunting these two, while these two escaped from custody of the other two, and to track down Clark Kent, and the other two that were energy were trying to get these escapees back. So it was like a triangle, three different parts colliding all in one. So really, Superman, in this whole book, none of the hunters were after Superman. Two of them were after Clark Kent, and then the other two were after the other two hunters. So Superman fights these guys, and they don't realise how strong Superman is. When we get this big busted big guy here, he punches Clark Kent and nothing happens. So then Superman hits him back and knocks him down, and then we get this. Like, how awesome does this page look? This comic is 40 years old, and the art in it is still fantastic. Like, it's still as good as any page you'll ever see in modern day comic books. Just big Superman punch to this hunter, and he's going flying out of the universe, and he's like, here's hoping that you like life on Jupiter. And then his little buddy, he's like, this isn't working as well as last time, because they were trying to get Clark Kent, not Superman. And then he comes flying back down and he lands, and then this guy, he's like, stuff this, I'm out of here. Superman, I don't want nothing to do with Superman. He runs back to the spaceship of the two hunters that were chasing him, and he's like, let me in, I surrender. I'd rather go back to you guys than be beaten by Superman. So this is where the plot twist happens. So then they open the spaceship, and we get this big guy here, and she's the wife of she's actually the wife of this guy that Superman's punched to Jupiter. So she's the wife. So this whole thing, the reason why the original two hunters were chasing this ugly guy here and the big guy is because basically, in human terms, there are a couple of husbands trying to run away and seek thrill. You hear of husbands, leaving their wives for the weekend and going to Hawaii to try and get away and rekindle their youth. That's basically what the story is. This guy and this guy were just they love the thrill of a fight. So they escape where they're from and run from their wives, and they go to different Earths in different universes and pretend that and tell everyone that they're from another alien race, and they're scouting the planet because their race wants to invade that Earth. So that they had Superman tricked, because Superman was thinking they were Earth invaders scouting for the rest of their colony to come and invade Earth, when really all they are is a couple of husbands that want to get away from their wives and rekindle their youth and go and find a fight somewhere. So they use the line of we're coming to invade your planet to scare people, so that they give themselves power and authority, so that they can scare people into thinking that they're big and powerful and don't mess with them, when really they're just a couple of they're basically like little punks that lie and try and make themselves sound cooler than they really are. I thought that was pretty funny. Like, you think these guys are big bad aliens, when all they are is they're like little husbands, husbands that want to leave their wives and have a bit of fun, get up to no good. But then we get the next plot twist. Where they are actually evil, and they are here in invasion, and we get this military man here, and he's not happy because they nearly messed up the plans. So this guy is actually, he looks like a military man. He's obviously trying to get these people to invade Earth or something, or do something where he gets power out of it or something. And this is what he says: Dreadnought and Cylon, you fools are idiots. If my recovery team hadn't pulled your fat out of the fire, you might have spilled the beans to Superman and all the people. And all because you can't control your hatred for the civilian Clark Kent. Besides, the last thing we need around here is to get an investigator with Kent's skills poking his nose into our operation. Better they both go back to where they belong. So really they are. They are probably invasion and they're part of a big plan, but they've also got a hatred for Clark Kent, so that's why they come here. So there was a few different plot twists and stories in it, so we get the idea, we get to the end and there is going to be like an invasion or something happening to do with this military guy here and these people from another different planet or universe. But yeah, it was a fun story. Definitely reckon, like, for 40 something years old, the art is still great art. Art TBA, good guy. You see him on YouTube all the time. Like this page here, I love this page. Like just a awesome, wicked, huge Superman punch to this big hulking alien and just hits him into the sky. Just this full page, really nice. The colours have held up pretty well in this book for the many years old it is, but still really good. But yeah, I only got it because I was just flicking through a long box in the shop and there it was, and I saw Dan Jurgens' name in it, and then I get it home and it's got Art T-Bear's art in it. So that was pretty interesting, pretty funny. So yeah. That's my review, guys. Good book, great old classic, just an old classic, you know, Superman story. You get the classic Superman poses here, and you know, just a classic Superman story, the way he should be. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Comics with Callaway. Like, subscribe to the channel, guys. Much appreciated. Share the videos, and we'll see you in the next one.